What's up, guys? Ryan here from Vanguard Central, coming at you guys with a Granblue Legion Deck Profile. Let's go ahead and get started with the grade 3s. We're going to be running 4 copies of Pinot Noir, the Legion for Granblue, main Legion, double R. And also Witch Doctor of the Sea Negro card. And now, so what Pinot Noir's skill is, when this unit legions, you may mill top 3 cards of your deck, and you basically search for 1 card from your drop zone, call it to rear guard. And second ability is choose one of your rear guards and retire it. When this unit attacks a Vanguard, you may pay the cost, and if you do, this unit gets +5. And so this is actually really good because it'll help you set up for continuous Legion, basically. So you go ahead and ride 1, mill 3, and then search for 1, call 2. You'll have 2 in your drop zone, and then probably next turn, you know, kill 2 cards or something like that, or kill 1 with his second effect, kill that 3rd one, and you'd be able to set up for a re-Legion on the next turn. And then also for Negrable right here, I feel like he's probably the main boss in this deck. His Legion skill is counter blast 1 and choose 1 of your rear guards and retire it. When this unit attacks a Vanguard, if it's in Legion, you may pay the cost, and if you do, choose a card from your drop zone, call it to rear guard. So because of the cost, you can actually, let's say if this is right here on the rear guard and this attacks first, you can kill this unit and bring back the same unit or a different unit and have that guaranteed 4th attack. So it's kind of similar to Ganslot Zenith. And second ability is when it attacks a Vanguard, if you have another unit in the middle column, it gets +3. So essentially, if you're in Legion, it's going to hit for 23 by itself.
Wow, you're getting a proper introduction to the Vanguard game.
Let's go ahead and move on to the grade 2s. Going to be running 4 copies of Pinot Blanc, the mate for Pinot Noir. 4 copies of Dragon Undead Gold Dragon, the mate for Negrable. And then also 3 copies right here of Dragon Corrode Corrupt Dragon. Now with this card you can maybe tech in Ruin Shade, but since this is like half budget and she is pretty hard card to find, I feel like he's really good because his skill is when he's called to rear guard from the drop zone. If you have a Granblue Vanguard, it gets +3k. So like say if you know, tech it in with Negrable right here, you can call Dragon Corrode Corrupt Dragon back. It's gonna hit again for a higher number. And now Dragon Undead Gold Dragon, there's such a confusing name. But basically when his skill, when your other unit is placed on rear guard from the drop zone, so not himself but something else, it gets a skill, and the skill is when its attack hits a Vanguard, choose 1 of your opponent's rear guards and retire it. And I feel like this skill is really good, especially if you have him on the field along with Negrable or even, you know, Pinot Blanc or anything that really calls from the drop zone. During that turn, this guy's gonna kill something if he hits a Vanguard. Super good. And now Pinot Blanc's skill is from the drop zone, if your Vanguard, when your Vanguard legions, so when it performs Legion, you may pay the cost, counterblast 1, and call it to rear guard. This is also very good because it helps you basically reset your field or even fill your field if you are, have an empty field. She's in the drop zone, counterblast 1, call it back. Let's go ahead and move on to the grade 1s. We're going to be running 3 perfect guards and 1 quintet wall. We're going to be running 2 dancing cutlass, 2 samurai spirit, 3 boatswain Armin, and then 3 sea strolling banshee. Now we run 3 perfect guards only because we need that quintet wall to basically set up our drop zone. And of course it's random milling, but say if you pull it off first, you're probably going to be able to Legion right away, and it helps you fill up the drop zone for, say, maybe you want to put Pinot Blanc in there, maybe Dragon Corrode Corrupt Dragons in there, and maybe, you know, even it helps you set up for that Legion for him. Gets you more cards in the drop zone to fuel for whatever you want to call. Gives you more options. And then we have Dancing Cutlass right here because, really good card in Granblue, especially because if you keep rewriting with Pinot Blanc, your soul is going to be pretty big. So his skill, when he's placed on rear guard, if you have a Granblue Vanguard, you Soul Blast 2 and you draw a card. We run 2 copies, keep it steady. Then we run 2 copies of Samurai Spirit. Now with these two cards, you can go 3 Samurai Spirit, 2 Armin, but for now we like it like this just because Samurai Spirit, he's gonna end up in the drop zone at some point, and his skill is Counterblast 1, choose one of your Granblue rear guards and retire it. And if it's from the drop zone, you can call it to rear guard, as long as you have a Granblue Vanguard, which we do, since, you know, this whole deck runs all Granblue. And so, say you have a bad column, or you want to just move something over, Counterblast 1, kill something, and then call him from the rear guard. And now, Boatswain Armin right here, his skill is when he's placed on rear guard from the drop zone, this unit gets plus 3k. So, he's a good for maybe a 10k boost, or if you have a bad field, you want to just call something so it can hit for 10. It's a really good card, especially if you call it with, right here, if you call it with Negrable. You can call it behind maybe a 12k hitter like Corrode Dragon. You can also put it behind Ruin Shade to make that 21k column if you plan to run her. And then of course, one of our best cards in this deck is a Sea Strolling Banshee. When this unit is placed on rear guard from drop zone, Soul Blast 1, if you have a Granblue Vanguard and you pay the cost, you do draw a card. So we have really 2 cards for draw power. This one you call it from the hand or even on rear guard, I mean from the drop zone. And this one you can superior call it. It gets that free plus. And it is a 6k unfortunately, but it really does help set up you know, your hand for future use. It really gives you that good defense for later. Let's go ahead and move up to our triggers. Now in our Granblue deck, we are going to be running 8 crits. Jimmy the Ghosty, best critical trigger ever. Look at him, so happy. 4 stands, 2 performing zombie, and 2 Hades Steerman. Let's set them down here for now. And then of course 4 heals. Now we want a pretty aggressive build in this deck, and that's why we run the 8 criticals. And you're pretty much gonna need Rough Seas Banshee because once she fills up your soul, and her skill, if you have a Granblue Vanguard, put it into the soul, you draw up to 1 card. So this skill's really good because you get the plus in your soul, you can fill the ammo for Sea Strolling Banshee right here, or even for Dancing Cutlass. And then also you get to get a +1 on that one. You draw that card. And then we run, you know, 8 crits, Jimmy the Ghosty, super awesome. And then we run 2 performing zombies right here. His skill is when it's placed on rear guard, it doesn't have to be from the drop zone. You can look at 10 cards from the top of your deck, search for 1 card from among them, put it into your drop zone, and shuffle your deck. Now the reason why we only keep them at 2 is because you're either going to draw into him as a drive check, or you can superior call him and find something else from that drop zone. So you can, you know, it's rather than a random mill, you can choose what you want to put. And maybe you'd want to put, you know, Sea Strolling Banshee, or even Pinot Blanc. So you can just choose what you want to throw in there. And we run 2 Hades Steerman right here because he's really a good card. It's kind of like a hard, I want to do 4 of him, but then I also want to do 4 performing zombie. So kind of keep it fair, go with 2 and 2. Because when your grade 3 Granblue is placed on Vanguard Circle, you may pay the cost. I'm sorry, there is no cost. You can call this card to the rear guard of the same column. So let's say your Vanguard's right over here. It just got placed on rear guard and he's in the drop zone. You can superior call it right behind him. And that's really good, especially if you want to set up for like a free retire with Negrable.
Yeah, I'm trying to see what I want to run.
And you wouldn't really need a, you know, that 3k boost unless you really, really want to. And you can keep setting up, you know, multiple times. Because at least behind Negrable, he'll hit for 26 because he already gets +3 on its own. And then we run 4 heal triggers, you know, staple in any deck. Then we're going to be running Pinot Gris as our starter. Now, this is from set 17, and his skill is put this unit into your soul. If your Vanguard is Legion, then you may pay the cost. If you do, choose a card from your drop zone, call it to rear guard. So when you're Vanguard Legions, that's when you would want to put them into the soul. You can pretty much grab anything else. Some cards you'd want to get. Maybe you can swap it out for Sea Strolling Banshee if she happens to be in the drop zone at the time that you perform Legion, or maybe even the Dragon Corrode Corrupt Dragon. You can also combo that with Pinot Blanc, because say that's a free +2 if you don't want to use the starter. And since you can pretty much Legion multiple times with Pinot Noir, you can either save them or just time yourself when you want to use this skill. And that's going to be pretty much it for our Granblue Legion deck.
Thanks for watching, guys. Like our video, comment below if you have any questions about the deck, and subscribe to us if you want to see more. Vanguard Central out.